Thank you very much for joining this session. Thank you for not fainting from hunger. I hope you had a good breakfast. So we have now 45 minutes where we can speak about DevOps transformation, introducing incident management, and maximizing monitoring value. Afterwards, you can go to eat. So, my name is Lena Standke. Maybe you know me also as Helena Karchenko. I changed my name last week. I wanted to bring some mystery here. But of course, it's easier for you to address me as Lena Standke if you have a question, or just Lena. I'm working at Bridgestone, and we develop software for web fleet management. I'm a project lead for incident management, and I introduce incident management to over 40 teams. That's a lot. And I'm also DevOps change agent and agile coach. So today we will start with incident management and like DevOps and incident management. Then we will go on to incident management in practice, so how it works, what we have to do there. Then we will cover additional steps to strengthen incident management within the company. And of course, we will go through the benefits of using DevOps and ICM. At the end, I hope we will have the Q&A. I planned it. I will hope I will not get too, I will not make it too long. So, DevOps and incident management. Let's start from there. Do we have here DevOps engineers? Could you maybe hold your hand up? Or someone who is working in a DevOps organization. So there are a couple of people already, so not everyone, but still. So for all of us to be on the same page, let's just go a bit through DevOps, what it is, why we have DevOps, and what it means. So maybe you read the DevOps handbook by Jim Kim and Patrick Hummel, and you heard of the 3 ways of DevOps. So there are 3 ways of DevOps. They cover principles of flow, of feedback, and of continuous learning. So let's just check what it means in real life. So the principle of flow is about going from business to customer. So it's about making our work visible, so that we see what we do and all our work items. It's limiting work in progress, since we all know the more we get, the more time we need to switch, and we, of course, get less productive. And it's about reducing batch sizes, and handoffs. Principle of feedback covers swarming to solve problems, to solve them together so that we build up knowledge. Maybe you know this chosen one who knows something in the company, some service, to a super expert level. And this is the chosen one person, and when something breaks, everyone goes to that person, everyone calls that person. If that person is on holiday, everyone thinks of that person. So the principle is to swarm and to work together so that we all gather that knowledge and we do not just have one person being able to fix things. Then it's about pushing quality closer to the source. So we start testing not when we already finished everything, but we started during we produce our code. And of course, it's about optimizing downstream work centers. What that means, when I'm working on step 1, I already think of the step 2 and provide my work item to the next station in a way that the next station can work on it in an efficient way. And of course, continuous learning is about enabling learning in your organization. It's about enabling safety culture. It's about trust. And of course, we also improve the daily work. So these are the 3 ways of DevOps. And let's go a bit more to maybe a very known DevOps loop. So DevOps practically brings 2 tribes together. So maybe you know, earlier or even now, we have this division between development teams and operations teams. So development teams on one side strive at bringing new cool features, bringing some change, and the operations guy is striving at keeping it stable, keeping it still working even when the change and the new feature comes. And there we have some problems. Yeah, like first, we might create a bottleneck, like in our company. We are going through a DevOps transformation, not because we had everything great, but we had some problems and we found a way how we can solve them. For example, we had over 40 development teams and they were creating all their services and components. We have over 120 of them. Yeah, that's a lot. And all of that was pushed to an operations team who had to bring it to production. Even one day it was bringing to test environment. And so you had to wait for feedback a very long time if it works as expected. So it was a very, very long feedback loop there. And of course, yeah, it created bottlenecks, it created also conflicts. Since the one side knows everything about the code, misses kind of information about the system, and the other side is having knowledge about the system, but misses knowledge about the code they're bringing there. So to find out what is the root cause, to find out where the problem is, was not so easy. So you have very separated two tribes and try to find where it broke. Yeah? The one has one part of knowledge, the other has the other part of knowledge, so we kind of always have something missing. So we decided to go to a DevOps way of working and to bring both development and operation tasks to our development teams. What does it mean? It means that every team of these 40 plus teams has end-to-end responsibility for their services. Yeah, that means they plan them, they code them, they test, they bring it to production, yeah, they deploy it, they operate it, they maintain it. So, of course, there are a lot of tasks there, yeah, and it's much more than it was when you were just coding and thinking of your part. Now you have to think of a lot more. And now you practically have, of course, great power, yeah? Like you don't have this bottleneck, you don't have to wait for others, you don't have to play ping pong, but with great power comes great responsibility. We have to maintain our service. Now it got serious. And when it breaks, it's definitely a very clear address where people come. Yeah, so every team knows when my service is down, I'm the one who's get contacted. And I'm not only contacted, I'm the one who will be fixing it. So I am already developing it in a maintainable way, yeah, because I know it will be me who will be fixing it. But of course, it's also a very difficult topic, yeah, so it has many things that you have to prepare there so that people are able to take over this end-to-end responsibility. And here's where the incident management enters the stage. Yeah, we have to understand when something breaks, what do we do, how do we react, what we have to prepare for. So the incident is an unplanned interruption in our service, or it's a bigger quality reduction. So you can imagine traffic light, and the traffic light on the road is not working. Yeah, so there could be a car crash. It would be, for example, the service is down, or major quality reduction. We have red instead of green. That's not bad if we have this just color on the dashboard somewhere where we are just showing a nice picture. But when it's about a traffic light, that's critical. Yeah? Having green instead of red is not good. So it could, again, provoke car crashes. So that's an incident. And we have to take action as soon as possible. And their incident management has a goal of minimizing the negative impact. For example, we will bring a policeman who will control this part of the road, yeah, and the traffic there. And of course, at the same time, we start directly restoring the service as soon as possible. Yeah, so we start directly also fixing the traffic light. The same thing works, yeah, for our services. So when it's not working, we have directly to minimize the impact, to cut it as soon as possible, so that, for example, it doesn't break other services, yeah, so that the impact on customer is as small as possible, and we recover it as soon as possible. Sounds very great in theory, but when it happens, we have very practical questions. Yeah, so we don't ask ourselves what is problem management, what was the incident management. We'd ask ourselves what can we do, how do I deal with the incident? Yeah, when there is a fire, I'm asking like, what do I do about it? So the questions like how to fix it, what to do about it, who is responsible, who I communicated to, and do I at all communicate it, and whom I contact, those are the real-life questions that arise. And in incident management, we try to answer them practically in advance. Yeah, of course, every incident is very unique, but we have a process behind it, a scheme behind it, that repeats itself. So let's go to incident management in practice. And on this slide, you see practically this scheme. Yeah, so when the incident happens, we have a way to respond to it, and we have to understand what components it consists of. So, normally when you see firemen putting out the fire, yeah, maybe you already know the firemen had to have some training. Yeah, so that's not like some random person from the street gets some water with a barrel and tries to fix it. No, these are people who were trained, who were prepared. And it's not only people who were prepared, because if the car, like the firemen come to the fire, they have normally some water, some foam there. Yeah, so they are prepared to take action. So they know that when it's fire, we do that, that, and that. So that is the first phase. The second one is, of course, detection. Yeah, I random see fireman cars just going through the city. Maybe something is burning. And normally there's some detection. So somebody sees the fire, there is alarm, yeah, there is a call, so somebody detects it, and in the next step, somebody notifies about it. Yeah, there's some communication on the third step. Afterwards, we go to the incident analysis. Yeah, do not think that we are already at the root cause, not yet. We just analyze, okay, where is the fire? Like, is it in the fourth floor? What kind of fire? Is it a candle? Yeah, or is it like the whole apartment burning? Are there people inside? So this is also very different action than that is needed. Do we need a ladder? Yeah, so kind of we analyze what is happening so that we can take action. In the next step, step 5, we take action. Yeah, so we recover. We put out the fire. And as the last thing, we analyze why this fire happened at all. So we never stop on we put out the fire. We always afterwards also analyze why did it come to fire, so that the next time we can prevent it. So practically, we'll learn from each incident. And here you see on each step we have some helping tools. For example, on the preparation stage, we design some guidelines. Yeah, so kind of we design some guidelines, yeah, how to work, how to deal with specific problems. We need some tools that help us for detection. Yeah, so normally, how do we get to know that there's an incident? Hopefully it's our monitoring that alerts us. In some cases, it's the customer, yeah, who notifies our support, and support notifies us. Communication, again, can be done through different channels. There's some status update. Yeah, you will let your customers know, oh, we have a problem. It's like when you notify about maintenance that is planned. You need to inform the customers that something is going on. And of course, incident analysis is also supported by observability. Yeah, so we can check what is the root cause, what is happening, yeah, and check it out. We have our logs, we have our metrics, traces, and we can use it there. Then we have runbooks for recovery. a very, very important step. Yeah, so we prepare runbooks so that we can follow them to recover the service. And we have root cause analysis, or like postmortem, on the last step. So all these steps are very important to do in advance, to think of them in advance, yeah, to preset the tools and so on, so that we can later react to the incident. And in my role of project lead for incident management, I support all 40+ teams on that way. So I'm their go-to person to provide them with information about incident management, on call, to onboard them there, to configure tools with them. So practically making it, again, from beginning till the end. And I saw a couple of questions, or of course I heard actually hundreds of them, because there are almost 300 developers with whom I work practically on a daily basis. Not everyone on the same day, thanks God, but still a lot. And of course they have very, very different questions. Yeah, they are also, like, every person is very creative, I learned that. Because like I have mine questions that can be new for others, and other people have new questions for me. But there were still some things that repeated. Yeah, and the most questions covered alerting, like how does alerting work? How make it bring value? Because we had monitoring, we have observability, but we have monitoring and we have observability. But of course, we need to check that we also get value from that. Yeah, alone having observability and monitoring does not help. We will need to alert people when something happens. So let's start with alerting. How to set up alerting is a very often question. And here, I support all the teams, and what I saw is that most of the teams have a very, very big amount of alerts. Yeah, so many teams had just so many alerts that they were routing them practically to the spam folder. Of course, in that setup, you kind of can miss out some very important stuff, and then practically the customer notifies you that something happened, and then you check your alert folder, having like 300 alerts for only that day, and you find, oh yeah, there was something, I was notified, but it was like in this 300 email folder. So I kind of missed it. So in some teams, we had the situation where there were like 2 alerts, 1 alert, or no alerts. Yeah, they had monitoring, but of course, you do not just sit with chips and look at your monitor all the time if the service is healthy or not. Yeah, I hope you don't. So there are better things. You can watch Netflix, you can watch Amazon Prime. So you shouldn't just watch your monitoring dashboards. For that, you can use alerting, and you can do some more creative work at that time. For a good process, it is recommended to introduce some alert management tool. Yeah, so just using only monitoring is not enough. Yeah, you have to build up a next step on it. In our case, we have Grafana, and we have all our dashboards there, and we alert ourselves, and then we are gathering it. In our case, in Opsgenie, there are a lot of other tools. There's also Grafana On-Call, there's PagerDuty, so a lot of solutions there. Important is that you have some alert management tool that is like a single point of contact. So like it will notify you actively. You do not have to watch all the time on your dashboard. You will see it anyway because it notifies you that something happened. Yeah, the firemen are not sitting and looking at the map. If something is burning, they get notified. So after you introduced an alerting tool, take care that you have automatic routing. Why? Because you don't want to open your knowledge base and start looking for who could fix this problem, who would be the guy to go to. Yeah, you want it to work automatically. So kind of incident management is about restoring as soon as possible. Yeah, and it's not possible to make it soon if you don't know where to go. So it has to be automatically routed to the owning team. Yeah, in our case, we have teams who own their services, and when their service breaks, they get notification they have to act. Then create escalation rules. Why? A very easy thing to imagine. For example, I'm being on call, and at the same time, like I need to maybe pick up a letter or something else. I just go out of my apartment just for a minute. I forget my keys inside. The door locks. The door locks, and I kind of have a working incident, and I kind of have also some private incident. I cannot go into the apartment. My phone is there, my laptop is there, so I cannot do anything. Your alert management tool can call me eternity. I'm just not able to react. So you have to take care that it has some escalation behind it. That means when the on-call person is contacted, but something happened to this person. Yeah, maybe the person has the best sleep ever, yeah, and it's just impossible to wake this person up. Yeah, then the next person gets contacted. So in our case, we have escalation by notifying the on-call person. If the on-call person is not available, 15 minutes later, we notify the next on-call person. Yeah, kind of the person who would have on-call the next time. And 30 minutes after the alert came, we notify the whole team, yeah, so that somebody sees it and can react. Of course, yeah, it's not that every time the escalation is activated, it's only activated, again, in some kind of urgency, something happened. Yeah, at the beginning, when you just start using and you just start being on call, it happens because you forgot to acknowledge the alert. Yeah, so there it doesn't have to be any very specific situation. At the beginning, you could forget. Later, of course, it's a very big exception that escalation is activated, but you have to prepare it still in advance. And of course, use effective contact methods. Why? If you send a very, very urgent email in caps lock, red, on the weekend, you might need to wait till Monday. Yeah, so nobody will check the email at night, nobody will check email at the weekend, so that's definitely not the way. So you have to find a way how you can reach out to a person so that the person really knows that you are reaching out. Of course, we all have cell phones, so that's the most perfect way to reach out. Yeah, like when we sleep, it's not far away, and yeah, we normally have it somewhere not far from us. So calling a person is a very good method to notify, or some push notification, again with a ringtone, with lighting up, that would be perfect. Yeah, so that you know the person really sees that it happened. If you just send an SMS, yeah, it's just too short to ring, and then you just can miss it. So practice what works best. Yeah, practice what works best for your team, for the person, and use this method. And of course, improve your alerts. Yeah, so again, the situation with 300 alerts per day, not good. You have to verify that every alert you get is a call to action for you. Yeah, so that you really start at least checking what happened. Is it something serious? Do I have to take action, like more action besides checking? Yeah, and of course, in the non-business hours, yeah, in the hours where you're not working, so in the evening, at night, at the weekend, only route very important, yeah, like high importance and critical alerts. So no nice to have at the weekend. You do not want your people just to be stressed all the time. Use meaningful alert names. I saw alerts with a name, error. helps a lot. Yeah, so try to elaborate a bit more on that. Like, for example, your service name, environment, what happened. Because when you get a call, you want to know what happened and with what. Yeah, so then you kind of already start thinking on how you can react. When you get an error, yeah, nice. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I have at first to make a picture completely from the beginning. I know that only something happened. Then prioritize alerts. Again, they're critical things like major incidents that have a critical impact on your company business. There are incidents, again, that involve customer impact, yeah? And there are things like where you check things. Yeah, for example, moderate alerts, where you check the system if everything is right. Maybe you also have to take action, for example, checking if your service is using resources well and so on. So they have very different criticality. Check this criticality and prioritize your alerts. We are using critical priority, high priority, and moderate priority, and we allow only high and critical priority. Yeah, so that means the incident is already there, so the service is already down, or it's on the way. Yeah, so it's not down yet, so we can prevent it. That will be a high importance alert. And only those two categories are allowed to reach out to our people in non-working hours. Yeah, and that is very important. And of course, constantly check your alerts if they're false positive. So as soon as you get an alert where you close or create a rule, automatically close these alerts, you have to make a change in your monitoring. Yeah, so go to your alert rule and check if the threshold, if the interval is working, so check what you can do there. Do not just shoot alerts that you ignore. And of course, check for false negatives. Yeah, when the customer had impact and we didn't know about it, that doesn't look good. Yeah, so we have to improve it, and we have just to add also this alerting. Okay, the next question that often is asked is about Runbook. And service runbooks is a topic where you have to motivate people. Again, we are used to use, for example, a recipe, yeah, but not all of us are used to write a recipe ourselves. So practically a runbook is a recipe how to restore your service. It's a step-by-step recipe. And for the company, it is very recommended to create a template that everyone can use, because if you even don't have a template that people can reuse, like to know, okay, I need to set that, and that information there, yeah, then they are even less motivated. Plus, when you have a runbook template, it's clear what to write down there, it's clear that nobody will miss anything, and it's easy to follow for everyone, because I know already the structure of the runbook, so I will be able also to understand the runbook of the others. Yeah? And, of course, create these runbooks somewhere in an open space, in a knowledge base. Yeah, do not go to a very hidden space with some mystery behind your runbook. Do not write it down on a piece of paper and put it on the wall in your room. Make it visible to everyone so that everyone knows, okay, we have a space where I can find runbooks, where I can check the runbooks of the others, yeah, where I can find mine. And label them or mark them somehow, yeah, so that you can find them quickly. It's not working when you need half an hour to find your runbook. Label them, mark them so that they are very easy and quickly to find. And keep them short and easy to follow. Since you don't want to read 300 pages War and Peace shortly when the incident is there. Yeah, you want to just tick, 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 follow it from up to down. So I prepared some kind of a template for runbooks. Yeah, just to name a couple of things that we include in our runbooks, maybe it will also help you when creating yours. So as the first step, we make a service overview. So again, just short description of what my service is doing, what functionality my customer has from it. We define there the service level agreement, objective, indicator. Why? Because if we have some agreement with a customer that we fix our problem within an hour, I kind of want to see it in the runbook so that I know, oh, I have so much time there. Yeah, so if I am not able to fix it within this time, I can notify the teams, the others, yeah, who will escalate then. Yeah, there's just a different process then. We also include dependencies. Again, why? We have somewhere in documentation, you can find it there. But no, if it's burning, you definitely just want to see it at one glance. If you cannot restore your service, you want to know, okay, maybe it's something else that's dragging you down. And of course, the most important part, create rescue cards, because without it, it's not having any value. Create rescue cards as a recipe for restoring functionality of your service. It's good to use a table structure. Yeah, so just not writing a long prosa, but using a table structure so that you can see, okay, when that happens, I take this part. So it's just clear for you. In the one part, you should include directly the incident name or alert, so when it happens, you can directly map it like, oh, I follow this recipe. Yeah, I don't need to read through all of them to know which one I take, but I know already directly when it happened, oh, that is one, that's mine. And also describe the impact and severity. Yeah, like when the service is down, it's really bad, so you include it. Yeah, it's critical. And the last part is, of course, your action. It's a step-by-step instruction. It's our recipe. I saw Runbooks where the recipe was for a service down, try to restore the service. Very helpful. Like I didn't get that idea at once. Yeah, but that's not enough, of course. I know when the service is down, I have to restore it. The question is how. So include the how to restore it, how to restart it, how to make a rollback. Everything should be really clear, step by step. Include links there. Yeah, if you're checking metrics, directly include the link to the metric. You do not want to start searching where do we have the dashboard, and yeah, you don't want to use your time for that. You want to restore it in that time. And include also screenshots, yeah, because one scene is better than our imagination and looking for like where do we have that button. So include it also there. There is some example. It's of course not the real one because yeah, you see you have one runbook, but put it in a table structure, have some summary, have dependencies, and describe the actions. Yeah, so you see, for example, when checking for errors, we directly also include the links, where to follow for restarting. We include a how-to, yeah, so that you click directly on the how-to and you have, with nice pictures, a description how you do that. Yeah, that is something that helps. So it's really hard motivator work that people do that, but just a couple of months ago, I came to the office and one of colleagues was standing in the kitchen and telling the others the story how he was called that night or the night before, and that he was so stressed out and he was so sleepy. He just couldn't wake up. He made himself a coffee, another coffee, but it did not work. So he was telling the others how happy he was that they had a runbook because his brain was not there. He was just following the recipe. He was not able to be creative and to find a way to solve it. He was just so thankful he had the recipe he could follow, yeah, and he could restore it quickly. And of course, finalize the runbook. Yeah, proofread the runbook, test it, and improve it. So, the postmortem. When do we do a postmortem? We do a postmortem as soon as we have this. Yeah, so after we have an incident, we have to analyze why it happened. We go deep into the reason and look for a root cause. And there, please ask why, not who. Use the 5 whys technique, yeah, asking why did it happen, because, why did that happen, because, and why did that happen? So, like, just imagine you're a child, why the trees are green, because, why the sky is blue, because, yeah, so go deep into the root cause. Then analyze how you solved it, was it the best way? Analyze your monitoring, alerting, did it work as expected, do you have to improve it? And again, check your runbook, improve it if needed, yeah, did it help you, could you follow it at all? And take your lessons learned with you. So these are also like actions that are action points for you. And then, after we prepared everything before, the question comes, how to prepare for on-call. So on-call is a very sensitive topic. Check legal aspects, because in every country it's very different. We have people in Spain, in Poland, in Netherlands, in Germany. Everything is very different. So different conditions, different labor law. Check it in advance. Make conditions attractive to people so that they also are interested in taking over. And identify people who want to take over on call. If there are too few people, cluster teams so that they can maintain the service of each other together, because you should not go under 5 people in on-call. For example, imagine being 2 people on-call for one service. One is sick, the other is on vacation. Bam, yeah, not working. And provide onboarding and trainings. When you're starting on-call, test your starting on-call in working hours, not at night. So do not, let's try it out. Today, on Friday, in the afternoon we start. Yeah, and then the whole weekend we do not sleep. That's not good. So start it in the working hours so that you try it out. Test it on a daily rotation. Why? You do not want to wait for 10 weeks till you are there and till you can try it out. And test in that time also the runbook. So every alert means we follow it, we test it. I imagine it's night. So I imagine always the worst situation ever. Yeah, of course, it's just like about 2 incidents in 4 months that really happen out of business hours in reality. But we always prepare for the worst. Yeah, then it's kind of easier. And improve your monitoring and alerting during that phase. So always ask yourself if that is a good thing or not. Try different contact methods, yeah, again with calls and so on, and also different rotation setups. Like there is a weekly rotation or 3 to 4 rotation where you have the like Monday to Friday, Friday to Monday, yeah, division between working week and weekend. And of course, on the company level, train your people, give them trainings, provide guidelines, provide how-tos and best practices, and find experts who can be a go-to person. Yeah? So that people know for that topic, I'm going to that specific person. And I know that I will find support there. Or if I don't know whom to ask, so I know, okay, that person might at least know whom I can ask. So find people who will give a helping hand to the teams. And set up knowledge sharing. Yeah, knowledge sharing platform where people can ask each other. So having everyone in the specific topic channels so that people can provide information to each other. And of course, create atmosphere of trust, yeah, so that everyone also is aware what is happening and gives you feedback. Since you are interested in seeing if everything works as expected, if it suits or not. Take all the questions, feedback, and worries seriously. I've heard a lot of them because, again, on-call is a very sensitive topic. And when you have 300 people, you have 1,000 questions. And they start with standard ones, how we set up monitoring, how we set up alerting, and they end with, and what if my grandmother got sick and I'm being on-call? Yeah, so, or when the aliens come, yeah, so practically, and it might sometimes seem strange, like, how did that question arise? But it's just that it didn't arise in your head. Yeah, but the person needs to know how to deal with that situation. So take it seriously. foster collaboration and knowledge sharing, of course, continuous improvement, and concentrate on lessons learned and not failures. Yeah? So also in RCA. So with all that hard work, what do we gain? In our case, we're still in the middle of transformation. We still have things that we have to improve. But we already see that the teams get more self-organizing. They experiment more. They have more new ideas, or they bring new ideas. And the quality of the services, the stability is better, because if you know that you are the one who gets a call when your service is broken, you kind of make it really stable. And of course, we already encounter faster mean time to recover. Again, automated ways to route it, to see it, and Runbooks. Yeah, so it works quicker. Of course, better collaboration is also there, because teams are asking each other how it works for you. Yeah, could you help me out? And they start to collaborate more. And of course, we see that people are more and more learning to implement continuous improvement, with making the RCA, with checking if everything is working. We still have a long way to go. Yeah, we still have things that we need to do. Of course, it's not done in one day, because again, over 40 teams, 300 developers, it takes time, over 120 services. But still, we already see that it is worth it. So thank you for your attention. I think we still have a couple of minutes for Q&A. I see a question there. So the question is when we do postmortem and what is the minimum time to do that. So normally we now do postmortem when the customer is affected. So as soon as there is impact on customer, we do a postmortem. Of course, we want to go on the way where we practically analyze each unexpected behavior, so that we can improve the service on the way. But again, that's a long way to go. We are constantly improving the process. But at least every time the customer is affected, you need to make a root cause analysis. You need to make a postmortem. How soon? The sooner, the better. But of course, not in the out of business hours. Okay. I got it. So if there's a time frame, like the minimum time that you need to spend for it. We don't have that because it depends on the incident again. Yeah, so you can find a root cause in some cases quicker, in some cases it takes days. Yeah, when more people are swarming, it depends on the incident itself. Thank you for the question. Thank you so much. So the question is how we communicate to the customer if we have an incident. That is actually a good question. We are still having that in progress. Yeah, but it's not a developer who is doing that. We have communication center that's part of second line support who take over this action, and they are also 24/7 there. And they make updates to customers. We are also implementing status page so that it's automatically then shown on the page if the service has a trouble or not. Yeah, please. If we have... yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If we have postmortem, if we have some actions afterwards, of course, we have our lessons learned. Yeah, and the one thing could be, for example, we create Jira tickets. Yeah, so we create tasks for ourselves that we then have like planned work, so that we improve our monitoring, improve our runbooks, and also improve processes. So it depends, again. So it has also to be taken as soon, like the action has to be taken as soon as possible. So we create direct tasks and plan them into work as soon as possible. Thanks. Yes, please. So the question is what tooling we have there for like practically each of the steps. Those are very different tools. Yeah, for example, for seeing if something is wrong, it's monitoring. We are using Grafana. Behind is Prometheus. We have Loki for logging. We have Tempo for tracing. We use OpsGenie for alert management. So practically everything is gathered there, and it routes automatically to the owning teams. So the team is gathered practically by the alerting tool. Yeah, so the people are notified into their phones and they start working on it. And for Postmortem, again, we use also OpsGenie, or also it's possible to take Confluence there, yeah, or any other knowledge base that you can use for status updates. We are introducing, in our case, status page, yeah, so that we can introduce. So we then can show the customer if our service is up or down, yeah, if there's some problem with it. So it's like a whole set of tools, yeah, a lot of them. And of course, you can find very different on the market and just connect them in one holistic process. Thank you. Yeah.
How do you ensure that the recipes are up to date?
That's a good question. How we ensure that the recipe is up to date? We check the recipes when we start on call. So I'm kind of the proofreader. I can already include it on my LinkedIn, a professional proofreader of Runbooks. And of course, we check it before we start on call. But afterwards, yeah, things also change. So practically every time after you have the incident, that's the minimum. When you check, did the Runbook help? Did it work? And of course, when you see any changes, so when you change your monitoring, when you change your setup, you directly also update your Runbook. Yeah, because it has directly also effect. If something in the architecture changes, dependencies change, you also directly update the Runbook. That's kind of one of the subtasks there. Thank you. Any other questions? I think the hunger won.
Then give it up once more for Lena.
Thank you.